and welcome to the Dynamic Duel podcast, a weekly show where we review superhero films and debate the superiority between Marvel and DC by comparing their characters in stat-based battle simulations. I'm Johnny DC.
And I'm his twin brother, Marvelous Joe.
And in this episode, we are pitting Batwing against Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales. If you've seen the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie, you know all about Miles Morales. But you may not be familiar with Batwing. He's a relatively new character, and he's the son of Lucius Fox, of course played by Morgan Freeman in the Dark Knight films.
Yeah, both of these characters are fairly recent as far as comic book characters go, but they have a lot in common. I'm really looking forward to this matchup.
Yeah, I actually didn't know too much about Batwing going into this, so in my research, I learned quite a bit. These are really cool characters. These two characters have some of the coolest aesthetics in comics right now, I think.
Yeah, and we're all going to learn about them together.
But before we find out which character will win in a fight, we're going to break down the news item from the past week. And that's singular because there's only one news item. It's definitely the calm before the storm that is Comic-Con.
Right, yeah, there's not too much news, but we will definitely have a whole bunch of news in the next episode when we talk about the news items that spring out of San Diego. In this episode, we'll be talking about the newly announced HBO Max app by Warner Brothers and how it relates to the DC Universe app that's currently out there.
As always, our segment times are in our episode description, so feel free to jump around to whatever part of the episode you want to listen to.
Right, we want to give a huge shout out to Arrow/Hawkeye, who gave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, as well as Lil A, whose real name is Chris, who also gave us another review and rating on Apple Podcasts. These guys helped us get to 126 ratings, which means that we are only 74 ratings away from our goal of getting to 200.
Oh my gosh.
74 can be done in like a period of 4 months.
Let's do it by the next episode. We're shooting for 200 ratings by our next episode. We could do it.
Right, because as you guys know, when we get to 200 ratings, our reviews of Marvel and DC movies will count toward those films' official tomato meters on Rotten Tomatoes, or they become eligible for that. So please help us out if you can by either rating us on Apple Podcasts. You could do what Lil A did, which was steal his fiance's phone for a little bit since he has an Android phone, and he rated us and then, give it back to her, which is sweet.
It's romantic. Everyone should impress their significant other by rating us on Apple Podcasts.
And if you can't do that, please share us with your friends and family who you know would enjoy the show. If they're interested in either Marvel or DC, I think they'll have a good time here.
So thanks again, and with that all out of the way,
quick to the No Prize! A No Prize is an award Marvel used to give out up until the 90s to fans. Our version, the Dynamic Duel No Prize, is a digital award that we post on social media that Jonathan personally draws for those who we feel gave the best answer to our question of the week. Last week's question was, should they recast Barry Allen in the upcoming live-action Flash movie? And if they do, who would you like to see in the role besides Ezra Miller?
Right, and this is coming off the news from last week that The Flash has a new director in Andy Muschietti.
We'd like to give our first honorable mention to Jeff Miles Jr., who gave two answers, both Alden Ehrenreich, I think is how you pronounce his name. He was Han Solo in the Solo movie, or KJ Apa, who plays Archie from the Riverdale TV show. I haven't seen Solo or Riverdale, but I'm going to trust Jeff Miles Jr. on this one and say those are great choices.
I've seen trailers for both, and based on that, yeah. Nick Abanto gave the answer Nicholas Hoult, who of course plays Hank McCoy, aka Beast, in the X-Men film franchise.
Oh yeah, I love that answer. Nicholas Hoult has such gaunt features. He looks just very aerodynamic. I think he'd make a great Barry.
Yeah.
He kind of resembles Grant Gustin from the Flash TV show too, I think.
He does, yeah.
Honorable mention goes to Joel Seagrave, who gave the answer of Kyle Gallner, who was Bart Allen in the Smallville television show.
Yeah, I barely remember him. I remember seeing that episode with Bart Allen. But I feel like if you did that, you'd have to bring back Tom Welling as Superman.
Well, we do need a new Superman now that Henry Cavill's probably out.
Yeah, we'll see. Bo Bermudez gave the answer Jesse Eisenberg.
I actually really like that answer. I think Jesse Eisenberg is a fast-talking guy, which is what Bo said here. But, he also has those gaunt features, and he's real skinny, and he looks like he can run fast,
Yeah.
Why didn't that win the No Prize?
Because Jesse Eisenberg, in the existing film universe, is still Lex Luthor. You can't have Lex Luthor suddenly become the Flash.
Man, that's so lame. He's such a sucky Lex Luthor, though. God. Honorable mention also goes to Matt Estes, who gave the answer of Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash in the DC Arrowverse television show.
And Matt says that he's already the perfect Flash. So
you saw the show. How is he as Barry?
I haven't seen the past 2-3 seasons of the show.
Uh-huh.
He was fine. He's a good actor. He's charming.
Yeah.
He's a good leading man. Our last honorable mention goes to Jeremy Orr, who gave the answer Ryan Gosling, which is a fantastic choice. Ryan Gosling is a phenomenal actor. Great choice. But the winner of this week's No Prize goes to Jacob Bell, Andy Freeman, and Jamie Wojcik, who gave the answer of Dave Franco. Now, I wasn't convinced when I first saw this answer.
Right.
Because usually Dave Franco plays like the idiot character in movies, like this kind of stoner idiot.
Yeah.
But it kind of threw me off guard when we got this answer multiple times. And just thinking about it, like, Dave Franco does have a pretty good range. You know, he's a good actor. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought he could bring, like, a good energy to the role.
So yeah, great answer. You guys win this week's No Prize. If you, the listener, want to go ahead and win your own No Prize, go ahead and stay tuned to later on this episode when we will be asking another question of the week. And now that that's done,
on to the news. Okay, so we've been talking about this for a while. AT&T, who now owns Warner Media, had been rumored to want to release their own streaming platform to compete with other platforms such as Netflix and Disney+. Well, that platform was finally revealed last week in the form of HBO Max.
Yeah, I was not expecting this. I'm really surprised that they leaned heavily on the HBO brand. It sort of makes sense considering that AT&T and Warner Brothers' greatest television asset is probably HBO. The problem that arises that I thought of when I first heard this name was that HBO already has HBO Go, which is for people who have a cable subscription. They also have HBO Now, which is for people who don't have a cable subscription but still want access to all the shows through an app purchase.
Right.
And now they have HBO Max. They have so many different HBO apps now, I think it'll confuse the market a little bit. Because a lot of the people I know right now don't know the difference between HBO Go and HBO Now. So this just throws another wrench in the machine.
Well, it definitely seems that HBO Max is definitely going to be different from HBO Go and HBO Now, because that's essentially the same thing.
Well, it'll have a lot more content.
It will absolutely have a lot more content. It's going to have programming from HBO, Warner Brothers, New Line, DC, CNN, TNT, TBS, truTV, the CW, Turner Classic Movies, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Crunchyroll, Rooster Teeth, Looney Tunes. They're going to have original shows too, like Dune, I guess, and Gremlins. And like some Stephen King thing. I don't know what it's really going to be. They haven't really announced too much about it yet. But they did unveil a trailer that included scenes from Doom Patrol. And they've said that the television shows from the DC Universe app, the original shows, will be on this platform.
That's surprising to me, honestly. I think it kind of devalues the DC Universe app a bit because why would you even buy the DC Universe if your primary goal is to watch these new shows when you could just get the HBO Max app, get those shows, and so much more? Unless, of course, you know, you're just a huge fan of the comics. But why would you be? Marvel.
Yeah, let me know when I could read Marvel comics on my television like a badass.
No one wants to do that.
I do it. I do it all the time.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. I was reading Batwing comics in preparation for this episode on my TV just the other day.
Whatever.
Jealous.
No, I could read Marvel comics on my phone, which is like the next best thing.
Ugh, all small. No, thank you. My 60-inch. Yes, please.
It's not the size of the screen. It's how you use it.
I guess. Go and lie to yourself. But no, I don't think anyone should subscribe to DC Universe solely for the original television content. There's not a lot of it, and it's only one small aspect of the app.
Okay.
So if you just want the TV shows, probably get HBO Max. But if you want the comics, if you want the community, if you want all the old TV shows and things like that, stick with DC Universe. Although, again, maybe those old TV shows, the old cartoons will be on HBO Max. We don't know yet. I might just stick with DC Universe. I don't know if I'm going to get HBO Max.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That blows my mind.
Well, I mean, I already have access to all the DC Universe original TV shows now, like Doom Patrol, Titans, Swamp Thing. Except for Watchmen. Ooh, that might be a deal breaker.
There you go. No, I want you to get the HBO Max app. That way I can steal it from you at my house.
Well, I don't want Disney Plus.
Yes, you do. Your daughters do.
That's actually very true. My wife really wants it.
Between these two apps, I don't know if I'll continue subscribing to Hulu or Netflix.
I've already canceled my Hulu account.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I've canceled Hulu. I've canceled Amazon Prime. Right now, I just have Netflix and DC Universe.
Wow.
And I'll probably get HBO again once Watchmen is released.
So when is this app coming out?
We don't know yet. It's supposed to come out before the end of the year. And they're saying it's probably going to be more than the cost of HBO Now, which is really expensive. It's $15 a month. If this is more, that's really going to hurt. Although there's rumors that they're considering releasing a cheaper version that includes ads.
Ooh, fuck that. I hate ads.
Well, I mean, I used to have that with Hulu Plus. I didn't mind it too much.
Yeah, I guess. But that brings us to our question of the week.
If you could only choose one, would you rather subscribe to HBO Max or Disney Plus?
Right, and this isn't just a Marvel versus DC question, because you have to consider all the additional content that you're getting between HBO Max and Disney Plus. You know, Disney Plus comes with all the Disney content that you know and love, the Pixar content, all the Marvel content, Star Wars, Nat Geo. It has a lot.
But yeah, like I said earlier, HBO Max is going to have New Line, so that's like Lord of the Rings stuff.
Oh.
Crunchyroll, who doesn't love them some good anime? It's going to have CNN, keeping up to date with the news. So it's really DC and Lord of the Rings, or Marvel and Star Wars. I think that's an easy choice.
Yeah, considering the cost of one of them is only $6.99 a month.
HBO Max is more expensive because it's better.
All right, well, we'll see what the listeners have to say. Go ahead and submit your answer to our Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, or email us at dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com. We'll pick our favorite answer and draw that person a Dynamic Duel No Prize that we'll post to social media. But I think that does it for all of the news for this episode. Again, only one news item, but we'll be talking a lot more news in our next San Diego Comic-Con episode. Let's get on to the main event, where we find out who would win in a fight between Batwing and Ultimate Spider-Man.
Okay, Batwing versus Ultimate Spider-Man.
AKA Miles Morales.
We knew we wanted to do a Spider-Man related Duel episode following the Spider-Man Far From Home review.
Right.
And we thought, since we didn't get the opportunity to use Miles Morales back when we reviewed Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, we thought we would use him now.
Yeah, and initially we were going to pit Miles Morales up against Batman Beyond, considering like they were the next generational superheroes. But you said that Batman Beyond sort of already exists in the present DC Comics continuity.
Yeah, the present timeline. Batwing sort of, you can consider him a precursor to Batman Beyond. He has a lot of similar abilities.
Yeah, and they kind of have similar outfits as well. I think Batwing looks a lot like Batman Beyond, but his emblem is blue, and he looks a little bit more armored.
Well, it's a light, it's not blue.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought it was a blue light.
It's almost like Iron Man. It's like if Iron Man and Batman formed a new superhero, it would be Batwing.
When you said the F and formed, I thought you were going to say fucked. If Iron Man and Batman fucked and had a baby, it would be Batwing.
I guess that as well.
But let's go ahead and tell people what we do here. So the way we determine the winner between these two particular characters is through stat-based simulations. What we do is we take their stats and we plug them into a probabilistic model known as a Monte Carlo simulation. And what that does is it randomizes each stat number along a normal distribution, which is represented by a bell curve, and it compares the numbers of the characters against each other 1,000 times, simulating 1,000 battles. From those simulations, we get a percentage of wins for each character, and we determine the winner to be the hero with the highest percentage of wins.
And this is the tried and true method that Deadliest Warrior, a television show that used to be on Spike TV, used in their battles.
Right, to determine who would win in a fight between like a ninja versus a Spartan.
It's a very scientific, very mathematical approach, which is necessary for us, Joseph and I, because we are both very biased when it comes to our respective favorite comic companies.
Right, so we let science answer the question of who would win for us.
So there's no fan votes, no uncharacteristic feats of strength, it's just all stats, which we get from the official Marvel Power Grid.
Right, and we extrapolate the DC stats among those criteria. And we also add a few stats ourselves in order to make a more robust simulation. A lot of channels that do these type of verse battle matches rely on feats. They take a look at all the accomplishments these characters have had throughout their comics histories, and they pick the best ones, saying that these characters are able to pull those feats off all the time. And what we say is sometimes comic book characters are written doing things that they normally shouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, it's kind of writer-induced stupidity, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. And sometimes, these characters that can also pull off these amazing feats also are shown doing dumb stuff that would never happen to a character with those powers or something like that.
Yeah, someone capable of certain feats also shouldn't succumb to, I don't know what to call them, anti-feats. What's the opposite of feats?
Lows?
Lows.
So we think the character stats represents an accurate average for the character.
Yeah, baseline.
And we still get feats and lows for each character through the randomization process of the Monte Carlo simulation.
Yeah, that's what it's designed to do.
Yeah, so it's all accounted for. So let's go ahead and get into it. Before we run the simulations, what we like to do is go over the backstories and powers of each character in the match. And then we like to improvise a scenario in which the two fight.
Yeah, like what would happen in one of these 1,000 simulations.
Exactly. So I'll go ahead and go first this episode and tell you all about the history and powers of Ultimate Spider-Man. In the Marvel Ultimate Universe, a continuity not unlike the mainstream Marvel Comics universe, Miles Morales was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York to Jefferson Davis and Rio Morales. He grew up a bright kid and won a lottery to attend Vision's Academy, though he was hesitant to leave his friends for a new school. Miles visited his uncle Aaron Davis against his parents' wishes to discuss his future. Unknown to Miles, Uncle Aaron was secretly the super criminal known as the Prowler, who had recently broken into Oscorp. This was Norman Osborn's corporation, which had created the Oz formula in an effort to duplicate the lost super soldier serum that created Captain America. Oscorp tested the formula on lab experiment animals, including a series of spiders, one of which bit Peter Parker and transformed him into the Ultimate Marvel Universe's Spider-Man. Norman Osborn tested the Oz formula on himself, which turned him into Green Goblin, who fought and was defeated by Peter Parker. Now, during the Prowler's break-in at Oscorp, one of these remaining test spiders crept into his bag and into his apartment, where Miles was bitten as he was visiting. Frightened, Miles ran outside and realized he was able to turn invisible and had other powers similar to Spider-Man. However, he had no interest in risking his life and fighting crime as a superhero. A few months later, the Green Goblin exacted revenge on Peter Parker, who died saving his family from Osborn's attack. Miles witnessed Peter's death and asked Gwen Stacy why Peter became a hero. In that moment, he learned that with great power comes great responsibility, and decided to take on the mantle of Spider-Man in Peter's honor. After buying a Spider-Man Halloween costume, watching online videos of Peter, and practicing his new powers, Miles still didn't feel he was ready when the time came to help the Ultimate Avengers defeat Electro. He was soon confronted by his Uncle Aaron, who revealed he knew that Miles was the new Spider-Man, and threatened to out his secret identity to the family if he didn't help the Prowler become the new kingpin of crime in New York. Conflicted, Miles fought alongside his uncle against Ultimate Scorpion, but later told his uncle that he couldn't use him as his personal enforcer anymore. The two fought, and during the battle, one of the Prowler's Vibrashock gauntlets exploded, and Uncle Aaron died in Miles' arms.
Oh no.
Shaken by his Uncle Aaron's death, Miles questioned continuing on as Spider-Man, but was surprised when he ran into Peter Parker from the mainstream Marvel Comics universe, who had been teleported to the Ultimate Marvel Universe by the villain Mysterio, an event you can learn more about in our Mysterio vs. Scarecrow Duel episode. Peter and Miles teamed up to defeat Mysterio, and Peter gave Miles his blessing as the new Spider-Man. He was introduced to the Ultimate Universe's Aunt May and Gwen Stacy, who bestowed Miles with Peter's old web shooters. Now Miles could finally shoot webs. He was then approached by Ultimate Captain America, who asked him to train with the Ultimate Avengers. Later, Ultimate Venom attacked Miles' dad Jefferson, believing he was the new Spider-Man. Miles fought Venom off, but the creature returned to attack his dad again in the hospital, where his mother Rio worked as a nurse. In the fight, she revealed to Miles that she knew he was Spider-Man all along, and then was accidentally shot by police who were responding to the scene.
Oh, jeez.
Miles' mother died in his arms, and he ripped up his costume, claiming he would be Spider-Man no more. 1 year later, he eventually put the costume back on again, convinced by Spider-Woman to help her take down the corporation Roxxon. Miles then helped save the world from the mainstream Marvel Comics universe's Galactus by traveling with Ultimate Mr. Fantastic through a dimensional portal to get mainstream Mr. Fantastic's files on how to defeat the World Devourer. After traveling back, Miles revealed his superhero identity to his father Jefferson, but his father rejected him, blaming him for the death of both Uncle Aaron and his mom Rio. Miles fought alongside the Spider-Man of dozens of alternate universes to defeat the Inheritors, a vampiric race of beings intent on destroying spider-powered people to prevent their prophesied destruction in an event called Spider-Verse. After which came the Secret Wars event, in which the Marvel multiverse was getting destroyed by an overall contraction of the Marvel timeline. As the Ultimate Universe was about to be destroyed, Miles discovered a vessel built by Ultimate Mr. Fantastic to survive the end of times. He and the other survivors found themselves in Battleworld, a patchwork planet created by Dr. Doom, who had acquired the godlike powers of the Beyonders in order to save all of existence. After Doctor Doom was defeated, Mr. Fantastic began restoring the multiverse, though Miles found himself now living not in his home reality, but now in the mainstream Marvel Comics universe, where his mother Rio was alive once again. He began training with the mainstream Peter Parker, and he joined the Avengers, where he became close friends with Sam Alexander's Nova and Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, whom you can learn more about in our Elastigirl vs. Miss Marvel Duel episode. After the events of the second superhero civil war, in which Iron Man and Captain Marvel clashed over the ethics of imprisoning prophesied criminals, Miles and his fellow younger Avengers became disillusioned with the older hero's moral ambiguity and formed the new Champions team. In one adventure into another universe to save his father Jefferson, who had become a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, Miles met an alternate reality version of Spider-Woman, who was Gwen Stacy. The two developed feelings for each other, but decided to stay friends. And that's pretty much his history. Now, powers-wise, with his origins in the Ultimate Universe, Miles' spider powers are a little bit different, given that he was bitten by a different genetically altered spider. Like Peter Parker, he has wall crawling, spider sense, and an enhanced physiology, which includes strength, speed, agility, and reflexes.
How strong is he?
He's as strong as Peter Parker is. He can lift about 10 tons.
Okay.
Though Miles also has spider camouflage, which allows him to blend into his surroundings for an effect that renders him practically invisible. And he also has what he calls venom blasts, which have nothing to do with his symbiote venom, but are bioelectric charges that release from his hands. Like a taser, his blasts can be used to stun or electrocute villains, as well as disrupt electronic devices. And that's Miles Morales' Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, I get it. You think you're going to disrupt Batwing's suit. We'll see how that turns out.
That wasn't my plan at all. What are you talking about?
Right, so let me get into Batwing's story.
Yeah, considering you know next to nothing about this character, I'm really interested in hearing about him.
Yeah, he's a pretty interesting character. There's actually been 2 different versions of Batwing, and I'll go into both backstories here. The second one is Lucius Fox's son.
Okay.
So when Bruce Wayne returned from his apparent death in the Final Crisis storyline, he announced publicly that he had been financially funding Batman to protect Gotham City, and announced a global expansion of Batman's war on crime in an initiative branded as Batman Incorporated. Bruce allowed Dick Grayson, who you can learn more about in our Nightwing vs. Daredevil episode, to keep the mantle of Batman in Gotham City for a time while Bruce traveled the world recruiting and training those that he deemed capable of taking up the symbol of the Bat. During Bruce's visit to the town of Tinashe in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, he met David Zavimbe, an ethical police officer within the town's corrupt police force. David was born in Tinashe. After his parents died from HIV/AIDS when he was just a child, he and his younger brother Isaac were abducted by the local warlord named General Io Keita and drafted into his personal army, known as the Army of Dawn. David and Isaac were raised and trained as child soldiers and showed a higher promise than other young boys drafted in their aptitude for following orders and their effectiveness in killing. It wasn't long before the 2 boys were promoted to General Keita's elite force, earning the nickname the Dragonflies for their speed and dexterity in combat. When General Keita ordered the brothers to assassinate Okuru, one of his enemies, and burn down Okuru's village, David and Isaac refused on the grounds that it contained innocent women and children. Isaac alerted Okuru's forces to their presence by firing his gun into the air, forcing General Keita's army to flee. In retaliation, General Keita punished Isaac in front of the Army of Dawn by hacking him with his machete several times before throwing him off of a cliff.
Dang.
David fled and was pursued through the Congo jungle by the Army of Dawn, but David was able to sneak past them at night and drugged General Keita. David tied the general up and drove a stolen SUV to the outskirts of Okuru's new settlement, where David vowed to never kill again and fired his gun into the air, alerting Okuru's forces to General Keita's location.
Smart.
David walked for days to an orphanage for former child soldiers, where he was raised with a strong morale and sense of justice by the orphanage's caretaker, Matu Ba, who would later be employed in David's service when Bruce Wayne recruited David into Batman Incorporated. Bruce brought David and Matu to Gotham City, where David trained and was given a high-tech armored bat suit. David returned to Africa and took up crime fighting within the city of Tinashe as the superhero Batwing.
Now, did all of Batman's recruits into Batman Inc. get these high-tech suits?
He was the only one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think because he needed more resources than some of the others. He was going up against heavier artillery, battling African warlords.
Gotcha.
So after helping Batman fight against an international terrorist organization known as Leviathan, Batwing faced off against an armored villain named Massacre, who was killing members from Africa's first superhero team, known as the Kingdom. Batwing eventually tracked Massacre back to Gotham City, where it was revealed that Massacre was his brother Isaac, brainwashed by a man named Josiah Cone, a former member of the Kingdom who resented his old team for their inability to save thousands of lives during a botched attempt at stopping a warlord back in the Congo. Batwing was a member of the New 52's Justice League International team up until its disbandment. Eventually, David decided to retire as Batwing when Matu was fatally wounded in an attack in Tanasha by the villain Sky Pirate, who also destroyed Batwing's Batcave-like headquarters known as the Haven. After Zavimbe's retirement, Bruce sought a new ally who would act as his global agent against international crime and threats to Wayne Enterprises. Bruce bestowed a newly created high-tech Batwing suit to Lucas Fox, the son of Wayne Enterprises CEO Lucius Fox, who designed the suit for Batman. Having been inspired by Batman from an early age and wanting to be like him, Luke grew up to be a tech genius like his father, graduating early from MIT with a double degree and also becoming a successful MMA fighter, thanks to his lifelong training in martial arts. He turned down numerous job offers, even one from Wayne Enterprises, with the hope of eventually getting noticed by Batman and being allowed to join Batman Incorporated. His wish came true, and it was revealed that Luke was always Batman's #1 choice for the Batwing suit after Luke saved Bruce's life shortly after Bruce announced Wayne Enterprises' financial relationship with Batman. Bruce chose David Zavimbe first out of respect to Lucius and to Luke's college studies at the time. Luke operated around the world, especially in Africa, before returning to Gotham City to protect his family from threats interested in his father's involvement with Batman Incorporated. Over time, Luke began a romantic relationship with Barbara Gordon, and with her having retired her Oracle role and now back to fighting crime in the Batgirl costume, Luke took up the duty as the Bat family's tech expert, upgrading their gear and, more often than not, his own Batwing suit. Now, Lucas Fox has no innate superhuman abilities, though his powered bat suit offers him increased strength, he could lift about 2 tons, and durability. The suit's interior shell can monitor vital signs and harden around damaged areas while also administering painkillers. The suit also has holographic projectors built throughout it that allows Lucas to mimic invisibility, though there is a blurred effect when he's in motion. Batwing can also project holograms from his hands, and his helmet is equipped with a heads-up display capable of infrared vision, mapping terrain, and tracking and analyzing foes. The suit has retractable wings that allow him to glide, and built-in grapple line launchers in his gauntlets, which can also emit various gases like sedatives or fear-inducing hallucinogens.
Fear-inducing? What is he, Scarecrow?
It's based off of a Scarecrow formula.
That's evil.
It doesn't drive the user insane, it's more like a truth serum.
Oh, it's for interrogation purposes.
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
The illuminated bat symbol on his chest can be used to blind opponents with flashbang-like strobes, and he can produce electric charges throughout his suit. He also has compartments embedded around his waist, used to hold gadgets such as energy daggers and various types of batarangs.
Energy daggers?
Yeah.
What is he, Black Panther?
Oh, he's better. The suit itself is donned in piecemeal, flying onto Lucas in sections as he needs them. And that's Batwing.
So his suit flies onto him in sections from where?
From Wayne Enterprises.
What an Iron Man ripoff this guy is. Although he's not nearly as strong. Yeah, he actually honestly would have been a great match for Black Panther, I think.
Yeah, maybe. He probably would have been.
But so was Black Manta, so.
Yeah, that was a good match. I liked that a lot.
All right, so let's get into our battle scenario where we improvise how we think one of the 1,000 matches that we simulate will actually pan out. We don't set any rules for this scenario, save for the fact that the characters start about 50 meters apart from each other. They don't know anything about each other other than the fact that they are threats that need to be put down. And the environment in which they fight plays no bearing on the battle itself because we don't take stats for the environment. These characters, when they fight, they have to win on their own merits without any sort of outside help. So let's get on with it. Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales versus Luke Fox, aka Batwing. Who goes first?
I'm going to say that Batwing starts off by scanning Miles Morales and noticing that he just has like a different physiology to him, like denser muscles, denser bones. He definitely gets a reading on Miles's web shooters.
Okay, yeah, I'll buy that. That makes sense. But while Batwing is busy wasting his time, Miles Morales is going to show him firsthand just how much muscle density he has by swinging across the battleground and landing a punch right into Batwing's face.
You never learn your lesson. Clearly, Batwing can see him coming.
Yeah, but Miles is really fast.
Yeah, but Batwing's suit gives him computer readings that allow him to act faster and smarter. So as Miles is coming in towards him, that's when Batwing unsheaths an explosive batarang and just hurls it right at him.
Okay, so Miles Morales' spider sense goes off, and he perceives this explosive batarang coming at him in like bullet time slow motion. So what he does is he shoots a web line at the batarang and swings it around.
No, it already exploded.
No, swings it around.
No, on contact with the webbing, it explodes.
Okay, well then that means it didn't explode in that close of a proximity to him because Miles shot the web line from a distance.
Fine. So he caught the first batarang. There's two more coming right at him.
Except Spider-Man leaps over these projectiles, as Spider-Man is known to do, lands, shoots two webs that connect to Batwing's feet, and yanks, which causes Batwing to fall right on his ass.
Okay, but as Batwing's on the ground, that's when he unleashes a smoke screen of gas. So now Spider-Man can't see him or what he's doing.
Okay, so Spider-Man's like, oh, I'm still connected to him with these webs to his feet. So he cracks the web like a whip, which lifts Batwing into the air and then slams him down to the ground again.
Okay, except that Batwing is at the other end anymore because while he was in the smoke, he used a laser dagger to cut the webbing. And as Spider-Man's confused, that's when a grapple hits Spider-Man right through the arm, and Batwing sends 5,000 volts of electricity right through him.
Except the grapple didn't hit Ultimate Spider-Man because his spider sense went off and he dodged out of the way.
Spider-Man can be hit. He can be hit.
Well, not like that. Not through long-range projectiles that give him plenty of warning. So this grapple line just shoots off to the side of him, and what he does is he grabs the grapple line,
and Batwing retracts it as soon as he grabs it. So
what?
Yeah, so now Spider-Man's being pulled straight towards Batwing, bringing him into close quarters.
Oh shit. Miles probably didn't see that coming with his spider sense.
No.
Or at least couldn't react quick enough.
So as Miles is really close, Batwing grabs him and takes a blood sample.
What?
Yeah.
How does that work? He injects him with a needle or something?
No, on his gauntlet, he has a gadget where he could analyze blood samples.
Well, Miles is going to be pissed by that. He's going to be like, ow, that hurt. He's going to turn invisible while he's in Batwing's arms and then kick off of him, escaping from his grip to get some distance.
Okay, but Batwing has infrared vision. So yeah, Spider-Man might be invisible on the visible wavelength, but not in infrared.
Okay, so while Batwing is like clicking through his visors to get the right frequency to see
he doesn't
Ultimate
click.
Spider-Man.
He doesn't
Whatever,
click.
as he's going through his different spectrum vision.
He just goes right to infrared.
What? He doesn't know to do that.
Yeah, he does. He's invisible. He goes all infrared.
Okay, well, as he's switching to infrared, you know what the first thing he sees is?
What?
A punch right in the fucking face. He sees Miles Morales' fist, and he gets punched right in the visor, hard, and it like short circuits, so that he has to like take off his bat lenses so he can only rely on his normal vision from here on out.
That's when his lenses fly off and a new replacement pair fly on from a gadget holder in his utility belt.
He has spare lenses.
He has a lot of spare parts.
Whatever. Oh my god. Well, Miles is pressing the attack, so he's punching him right in the chest.
No. As Ultimate Spider-Man comes in for a further attack, that's when Batwing strobes his bat chest signal, blinding Miles Morales.
Fuck! Alright, so Miles has just been flared. He's seeing spots. He's a little bit disoriented from that, sure. He turns invisible again. When his vision comes to, he already sees that Batwing is invisible. He's like, oh, where'd he go? So they're both invisible right now? I guess. I guess the only thing that Miles Morales is gonna see is the area around him flooding with a fear toxin gas. So go ahead and try not breathing. Well, I know that when Miles was first subjected to the fear gas by Mysterio, when he fought alongside Peter Parker, the thing that he feared the most was, I think it was his Uncle Aaron killing his parents. So in this instance, what I might think is that he sees Batwing as his uncle, the Prowler. And maybe his parents dead off to the side or something. So he's gonna be like, Uncle Aaron? Okay, so as Miles is on this like really bad trip, that's when Batwing sneaks over to him, grabs him by his web shooters, and sends an electric current, like disabling them. Disables the web shooters? Yeah. Although I think they would be protected against electricity, considering that he does have his own bioelectric blasts that actually fire in close proximity from these web shooters. So I don't think Batwing's blasts actually disable Morales' webs. Now, this electric current that Batwing sent through Miles is not something that Miles is unfamiliar with. It snaps him out of his illusion, and he rechannels all that energy that he just got zapped with into his hands and does like a super venom blast against Batwing that like shoots him backwards through the air and probably disables all of his systems.
No, because again, like what you just did, his suit is used to having an electric current running through it.
Not this kind of electric current.
Yeah, this kind of
bioelectric. I don't know.
So Batwing, he's knocked back, so now he's in the air, he's gliding around.
And Miles jumps up through the air and shoots his webs, and while in midair, yanks Batwing towards him and like does this cool like roundhouse midair kick that sends Batwing slamming down into the ground, and Spider-Man lands right on top of him with his feet, creating a Batwing-sized crater in the ground. Combo.
Okay, but as Spider-Man is on top of Batwing, that's when Batwing emits this gas from his gloves right into Spider-Man's face. Then right away he slaps an explosive batarang on Miles' chest and kicks him away.
Except that Miles saw the explosive batarang coming with his spider sense and ducked out of the way.
Except that the chemical gas that Batwing just emitted negated Spider-Man's spider sense.
What? How?
Because of the blood sample that he took earlier.
Oh, shit.
His computer system was able to analyze it and concoct a chemical that would counteract the spider sense.
Okay, shit. Okay, so Miles' spider sense isn't working. He has this bomb to his chest, and he just got kicked away by Batwing to the ground.
Yep.
How does the bat bomb stick to him?
Oh, it's like sharp, and it just goes into his chest.
Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, I thought maybe it was like a sticky bomb or something like that.
No.
Miles uses his spider reflexes and speed to yank the batarang out of his chest and chuck it over toward Batwing's location.
He's not an expert batarang thrower. That thing's just gonna fall short.
Lob it. It's an explosive. He just has to lob it. You don't have to be pinpoint accurate with an explosive.
Thin. Still razor thin.
And then it explodes, and it destroys Batwing, since Batwing was pretty much already severely crushed by Spider-Man's previous aerial attack.
But I say he doesn't do that in time, and it explodes in his hand.
All right, well, I think that's a great place to end this match. Either Spider-Man explodes from the explosive batarang, or Batwing falls to his own toy. Let's go ahead and run the simulations and find out which character came out on top. I always know when it's going to be a good fight when the character's stats are varying, but feel generally overall comparable.
Yeah, stat-wise, they differed in a lot of areas. Spider-Man is faster, he's stronger.
But Batwing's a better fighter and is more durable. They're pretty much both even in terms of like the amount of damage they're able to inflict and the range at which they can inflict it, as well as their overall strategic intelligence, with Miles compensating with his spider sense to allow him to adapt during battle.
Yeah, Lucius is smarter. He's also very young. He's only, I think, like 21 or 22.
Well, Miles is only about 17.
You can almost see, like, Miles growing up to be someone like Lucius, getting, like, a double degree in MIT.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Miles is pretty smart.
They could both turn invisible. They're both agile, although Spider-Man has the edge in terms of agility.
And he's evasive through his spider sense again as well. It would be really hard to hit Miles with all those evasive powers he has.
Yeah, it's always been a challenge for these duel matches with Spider-Man, because you never want Spider-Man to get hit, like, ever.
Yeah, I remember that came into play during our Spider-Man versus Blue Beetle duel episode, which I thought was a pretty good one.
Yeah, in a way, this is Batman versus Spider-Man, just like Next Generation versions
with a little bit
those?
More powers? Yeah. Well, do you want to know who wins between Batman versus Spider-Man? Batwing versus Ultimate Spider-Man?
I'm really curious.
Okay. I will tell you that it is closer than I thought it would be.
Really?
Who do you think won?
Batwing.
The winner of the Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales versus Batwing Luke Fox fight is...
Please Batwing.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Fuck!
Miles Morales won 509 matches out of the 1,000 battles, meaning Batwing won a staggering 491. These guys were pretty dead even. They were really close.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of figured Spider-Man was gonna win. I did not think it was gonna be that close.
It was really close. So not only did they vary a lot in their stats, not only are they very different characters, but they ended up being almost dead even in terms of the results, which I would call a damn successful duel episode. I had no idea who was gonna win this one.
Yeah, I was a little worried about going with Luke instead of Batman Beyond, but I'm glad I went with Batwing.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. And I guess from these results, you can also deduce that Spider-Man would beat Batman.
But just barely.
All right, that does it for this episode. Go ahead and write into us, guys, and let us know what you thought. If you have any agreements or disagreements, let us know by visiting us at dynamicduel.com, where you can find links to our social media profiles, such as Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And you can also reach out to us via email at dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and while you're at dynamicduel.com, make sure to click on our merchandise link. That'll take you to our TeePublic store, where you can get a discount on a variety of t-shirts or mugs or phone cases. Who doesn't need a new phone case? Everyone needs a new phone case.
I definitely need a new phone case.
Yeah, me too.
But you only get that discount if you visit our store via our website, dynamicduel.com. Again, click on merchandise. In our next episode, we will be going over all the comic book movie news to be coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. Now, Marvel's going to have their big Hall H panel at this event, at which we expect them to announce the Phase 4 movie slate, including the Black Widow, the Eternals, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Guardians, all that good shit.
I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers is going to unleash a salvo of content online. So definitely keep an eye on their YouTube channel. Definitely keep an eye on their social media accounts. They don't need Hall H to make a big splash.
It's going to be an exciting weekend news-wise. There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about, hopefully, and you'll get all that coverage here next week. So be sure to subscribe to us, or if you have, share us with your friends and family again. Help us get to 200 ratings on Apple Podcasts.
It really goes a long way to helping others find our show.
We'll talk to you guys next week.
Up, and away.
True believers.